Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again. Um, yeah, this is gonna be a little bit different video. Um, I don't have any more albums to review at the moment. But I decided, since I don't have any albums to review right now, I'll just seemed like a good idea to make a video showing my comic book collection. Yeah, I have a lot of comic books. I have like a stack right here. I'll get up and get the other stack after I put these ones away. I don't want to get everything out at once, but all right. So yeah, this is my. I'm just gonna show off my comic book collection. First off is a big one. Ugh. It's I guess a collection of a couple different comics. This is a collection of a couple of Aliens comics based off of the movie Aliens. I don't believe there were comics off of the based on the first movie. I don't think the comic series really started until the second movie. Um, I think this is. I know there's two of these. There's this one, and then there's a one with a black cover that I guess was before this one. This is a collection of different ones. It's Nightmare Asylum and Earth War. Um, yeah, there was two different ones. There's this one and a collection of like one other that I'm probably not going to get because the other one. Now this is full colored comics, full colors and stuff like that. Whereas the other collection was black and white, and I just don't really like black and white comics all that much. Um, I don't know. I just think um, when a when a comic book doesn't have colors in it, it just loses a bit of that loses a bit of I don't know, life in a way, because comics are a form of media where there's no movement and no sound, and one of the main things that makes comics really enveloping and very good are one, the writing, two, the characters, and three, the colors that color in the environment. But yeah, so that's why I just didn't get the collection, the black and white one, because. But yeah, this one is awesome. It has some really good illustrations in here. Probably the best illustrations I've seen for an Aliens comic. Um, let's see, what's a really good one? Let's see. Ooh, there's a good shot of the alien hive, and there's a good uh, artwork right there. Oh, and then the front art too is pretty cool. Um, I don't think. Wait, maybe. Hold on. Oh yeah, there's some and then there's also some alternate artwork in the back. Basically alternate covers. There's that one. Um, there of course there's the one that's on the actual front. This one, and then let's see where. Yeah, there's a few others. There's this one. Come on, there we go. And then there's this one, which I think is there's like a lot of fan art based off of this particular image. Really, really cool. And some of the fan art that's based off of this particular image looks so good that like you can actually mistake the fan art version for the official version. But yeah, that's really cool. And let's see. Then there's this one, an alien about to kill this random dude. And then probably my favorite. This is definitely more geared towards the original design by what's his name again? Oh crap, I forgot his name. H.R. Geiger. That's it. It's really cool. And then the last one is, I guess, different breed of Xenomorph. It was really cool. But yeah, there's that. And then with that, I do have some let's see, where is it? No, wait, hold on. That one, oh yeah. And I do have some individual issues as well, like Dark Horse Comics. I guess this is a Predator one. It doesn't have an actual title, just this Dark Horse Comics, but see there's Predator there. Oh, Welcome to the Jungle and Blood on to which I don't know. This is I don't know. I guess this is part of a series. And then I have some Aliens Colonial Marines comics. This is 10 of 10. Oh, and then that's the only one I have of Colonial Marines. But and then there's Aliens Music of the Spears. This is issue 1 of 4. Then Music of the Spears, issue 3 of 4. And then Aliens and Predator, The Deadliest of Species, issue 5 of 12. There we go. So that's all the Alien stuff. I have a couple more Dark Horse stuff. First off, is actually a few things I've actually showed you guys before in another video, and that is the Dethklok miniseries, issues 1, 2, and 3, and then of course the variant cover for the first issue, which I actually like this cover more than the standard version, even though the standard version is pretty cool. I don't know exactly when these are supposed to take place, but I guess these comics are basically storylines that were never actually put into episodes of Metalocalypse, so they put them in the comic form instead. But yeah, I don't need to show you these that much again because I've already showed these in another video. But yeah, the Dethklok miniseries is one of my favorite comic book miniseries. Really cool. Has some good funny moments too, just like the show. And then some Star Wars stuff. Some old Star Wars stuff from back when Dark Horse had the license for Star Wars in terms of comics. First up is another miniseries, a two-part miniseries, Star Wars: Tales of the Jedi: The Freedon Nad Uprising. That's the first one. See, there's Freedon Nad on the cover. Or is that Freedon Nad? I don't know. I haven't read this in a while, but there's that one, and then in the back part, there's the second one. Pretty cool comic. Pretty cool miniseries. Not the best, but definitely very interesting in terms of artwork. Definitely, I'm probably going to have to check out more of the overall storyline of this particular era of the Star Wars in terms of the comics. But yeah, it's okay. And then, let's see. Here we go. Star Wars: General Grievous. This is a collection of a mini-series, of course, based on General Grievous. This actually, I believe this came out, I think, before Revenge of the Sith. Oh, I need to get a new copy of this. The spine of this comic is really falling apart. But let's see, when was this made? I think this might have been made before Revenge of the Sith. 2005. No, it was the same year. So it was either right before or right after Revenge of the Sith. It might have been right before. But this is definitely this is again my favorite version of General Grievous back before Disney sort of ruined the character by making him very like a shallow sort of character and very cowardly too. This is back during the George Lucas days of Star Wars when General Grievous was depicted as a really in-depth villain and as with a really in-depth backstory and just an absolute powerhouse of a lightsaber duelist and just a creature that the Jedi absolutely feared. This is how General Grievous should have been depicted in, when that character carried on into Disney Star Wars. But yeah, a really awesome depiction of General Grievous in this miniseries, and a really good story. Oh, the story is actually pretty interesting too. Basically, in the story, General Grievous finds like a crashed ship full of Jedi younglings that he plans to basically brainwash into being his army. But yeah, really cool comic. Um, awesome. And then lastly, of the Dark Horse comics, I have really. I'm pretty sure this is harder to find nowadays, but it is Star Wars Visionaries. 10 exciting tales from the concept artists who helped create the movie Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, this is a collection of short stories. Most of them aren't really that interesting, but there's two that are amazing. The first one actually got adapted into a storyline for Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and that is the Return of Darth Maul. Where does it start? Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, Old Wounds. Basically, the Return of Darth Maul. As you, no, there we go. Um, yeah, just a really great short section on Darth Maul, or the Return of Darth Maul. There's the actual artwork there. It's really cool. And then the only other short story that is worth really a mention is actually my favorite of the two that I think are actually worth mentioning is let's see where it's at. Where's it at? Hold on. Oh, that's not it. I think it's actually the last one on here. Hold on. Yep. Oh. No, no. Yeah, there we go. The story called The Eyes of Revolution. This is basically sort of a backstory on how General Grievous ended up as a cyborg. I know there's a comic floating around out there that goes into the full backstory of General Grievous. I believe it was an issue of Star Wars Insider. I'm pretty sure that it was featured in. I don't think it was like as a regular comic series. I'm still trying to find that one, but this is as close of a General Grievous backstory depicted in comics that I've found so far. Um, yeah, it's really good, and the design of General Grievous too here is amazing. One thing to note that I found very interesting is that in here, General Grievous, like as a regular Kaleesh, that's a species. This is a regular Kaleesh. Doesn't have the sort of slit pupils that he usually is depicted with. Yeah, hold on. Let's see if I could find a good picture. Hold on. Yeah. As you can see right there, close up of his face when he's in the bacta tank after his shuttle crash. He doesn't have any slit pupils, and it's only after he becomes a cyborg that he has slit pupils, as you can see there. So I found that really interesting little thing. But yeah, he's still in the comics depicted as a badass. He wouldn't be depicted as a coward until Disney took over the rights to Star Wars. But that's the first part of my comic collection. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get another chunk of my comics and put this away first. Alright. So, this is another section. A smaller bit, but we're good. So first off, my Batman comics. I don't have many, but I have a few. First off is the Killing Joke. Both the what was it, the deluxe edition and the original version. And for those of you who are wondering what the difference is between the deluxe version and the original version, is the color palette of the actual comics. With the deluxe version, they changed it. With the deluxe version, you could tell somewhat regular color scheme to what you would usually find in a Batman comic of that era, of like, what was this, 89, so like the late 80s, early 90s. Color, there we go. But yeah, basic color palette, what you would usually find, maybe slightly different. But yeah, the original version, actually, hold on. The original version, get this out without bending it. Hold on. There we go. As you can see, the original version was a lot more bright and vibrant, with some really bright, vibrant neon colors. You know, bright neon reds, neon blues, and neon pinks and purples, and some greens even. There's an example. Maybe that's not the best example. Let's see. What's a good one? No. Yeah, you can see there. Some better example. Look at all those colors. I actually do, even though it doesn't really fit the mood of the comic, I do actually prefer the bright neon colors over the dark, somber colors. I know, it just makes this whole comic unique. It's just a really big shame that you don't get an option, and you don't really get an option of both versions, because this is the only version being sold nowadays. You can't really get this unless you go to a comic book store and they happen to have one of these. But yeah, that's Killing Joke. And then the only other Batman comic I have is a collection of a miniseries. Is Elseworlds Batman Volume 2. Probably my favorite Batman storyline. It's basically it consists of 3 chapters, which were originally released individually. Batman, what was it? Batman, which one was it first? Hold on, I always get the two confused. Oh yeah, Batman Red Rain, Batman Bloodstorm, and Batman Crimson Mist. This is probably the I'd say up to this point the goriest Batman comic. There's a lot of blood and guts in here. Of course, because there's vampires and zombies and stuff. For those of you who are wondering, no, this is not part of the main continuity. That's why it says Elseworlds. Basically, it's a series that's supposed to take place in an alternate reality or an alternate timeline. I find a lot of the alternate timeline stuff to be, most of the time, more interesting than the main timeline stuff. Yeah, basically the plot of this 3-part miniseries is Dracula comes to Gotham and starts basically killing off the residents of Gotham one by one, drinking their blood and stuff like that. And then there's like the body count piles up to the point where Batman takes notice, and he goes and investigates, and he finds out, oh wait, it's Dracula. What is going on? Like, at first he doesn't believe that there's a vampire running around, but then towards, like, I don't know, halfway through the first chapter, he encounters Dracula and like his army of vampires. And then, but yeah, the first chapter is just him basically finding out that Dracula exists and that he's basically killing people in Gotham, and so Batman has to put a stop to him. The second chapter is where things get a little hectic. Let's see. Yeah, the second chapter is like basically he prepares for battle. He teams up with Commissioner Gordon and another a vampire, a good vampire, to stop Dracula. Um, Basically, at the end he does stop Dracula, but unfortunately, Batman dies at the end of the battle. But it doesn't stop there because later at the end, Batman comes back as a vampire, but he still has humanity left in him. Like, he's still a good guy. And then at the very end, spoilers for those of you who haven't read this but want to read it but don't want to have be spoiled. Skip ahead a bit on the video. But spoilers. Batman faces down. Vampire Batman faces down the Joker, and he gets into a fight, and then he bites the Joker, and I guess sucks his blood. But the Joker's blood is tainted with Joker's just insanity, and so Batman slowly just goes insane and becomes like a evil vampire later on. But yeah, it's just a really awesome comic series. Definitely my favorite Batman storyline in terms of comics. Really gruesome, really graphic. They didn't hold back on the blood and gore in this one. Um, but yeah, it's just amazing, and then the artwork's really cool too. The only thing I find really odd is that there's two character, like, I don't think the same artist of the first chapter worked on the second and third chapters, because certain characters, especially there's this historian character that Batman encounters a few times throughout these three chapters. Her design compared to the first chapter and then to the second and third changes drastically. And then same thing with the Joker too. Like, the Joker's design changed drastically from its first version. Yeah, because for whatever reason they couldn't get the same artist to do the artwork for the second and third chapters. But that's the only gripe I have with it. But everything else is just amazing. Um, but yeah, there's that. Alright, I'm gonna put these away and get out the other stuff. Where'd this go? Alright. So there's two piles. The reason it's one comic series, but I have like two piles here because one pile I haven't read yet because I just got it. But wait, where'd it go? Oh, there's that one. Okay, so the next comic series that I own is almost forgotten about horror anthology comic series called Ghosts. Yeah, this is the first issue. It's not in, I mean, it's in decent condition, but no, I should have really probably spent that little extra buck to get a better copy, because they did have a better copy, but it was like, I don't know, 80 bucks, I think. But oh yeah, I got most of this series at Comic-Con last year. And then I got a few more like a week ago at my local comic book store. But this is a great horror anthology series. I actually do prefer it over Tales from the Crypt, believe it or not. I think the stories, at least in like the earlier earlier issues, the stories are just fleshed out a bit more, and there's just more to it. Where Tales from the Crypt is more of like the shock factor, like the blood, the gore, the monsters. This is sort of more of like, I'd say more of sort of the mystery and the suspense rather than in your face scares and just gore. This is a little bit better storytelling too than Tales from the Crypt. Maybe not as memorable designs of creatures as Tales from the Crypt, but I do like it better for the story. For story, especially okay. So the odd thing about this series, though, is the fact that early on, like as you can see, where's oh yeah, no, that's not it. Maybe it doesn't say. I don't think it says on this particular one, but originally for a while, I guess they had like 6 or 7 stories, so like a bunch of pages, like 6 or 7 short stories, because it says like the titles here and then and plus others. So as you can see, there's the titles there of the stories that are contained in here, and then plus others. So there's more that's not even on the thing. Um, but yeah, so early on they had a bunch of stories mashed together, basically a bunch of stories. But like because they had so many pages, they were able to flesh out each story in detail. But yeah, and then later on, unfortunately, they slimmed down the amount of pages they put into the comic, kind of hampering the amount of space they're able to tell their stories. But yeah, so that's the first one, the first issue. I have a lot of these. I don't have all of them, but I do have quite a few. It's the first one. Um, oh, and the reason why this is out of its sleeve is because the sleeve ripped, it tore, and I just need to purchase a new sleeve. Anyway, so that one, and then what was the next one after that? I have number 3. Um, hold on. I don't have these in order. No, I don't have these in order. Hold on. But yeah, there's number 3. Um, number 7. Hold on. That's number 7. Um, oh, that's not it. Hold on. Did I get all of them? Hold on. I don't think I got all of them. No, I got all of them. Never mind. I just don't have them in order. I think I have them in order. Oh, of course, there's 2 piles. I completely forgot that they're 2 different piles. But yeah, there's that one. There's number 13. Number 14. Number 45. Um, number 105. Although this one says 10th anniversary issue with 27 spine cracking pages. I don't know. And then, that's it. Oh, sorry. The one after that is I guess it's not part of the main series, but it's a Ghosts special, sort of a special. It says 6 all new super shockers. 1978 right there. Yeah, comics were cheap back then. This is 60 cents up here. Wait, compared to the first one says what was it 25 cents? Damn, comics used to be cheaper than they are now. But yeah, the special. But yeah, there's that one, and then I have a few more here. There's a number 68. Really cool cover too. I like this cover. Number 61. Number 56. Number 38. Number. Oh, I did have these. I did have these mixed up. I was right the first time that they were in a mixed up pile. Oh crap! I'll have to sort these out later. But yeah, and then number 11. With my favorite of the covers. Of the ones that I own, this is my favorite cover. It's a skeleton with a cloak playing the piano. Kind of reminds me of Phantom of the Opera a bit. The movie with Lon Chaney. Especially like with the skeleton. The reason why it reminds me of that as well is because in that one scene, the one scene that is in color, the rest is in black and white. That one scene where he's in the ballroom and he has the skull mask. Yeah. Oh, and something very interesting about a few of these, especially like a few of these that I got at Comic-Con last year, have this sort of thing in it. It says a certificate of authenticity, Jerome Winokur collection. Basically, I guess this is from the estate of someone who passed away who had an almost complete collection of DC comics, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, a few of these have that in there. And then number 10. Yeah, a lot of the earlier issues not only have a lot more pages, but they actually have the listing of the titles of the stories within anthologies within each issue of the anthologies. That and there's number 9. Really cool cover too. It's just like a skeleton sailor. And then another really cool cover with this one, number 5, the Phantom Stagecoach with the Grim Reaper. Oh yeah, and another thing about the very early stuff, of very early issues, is the fact that there's no traditional DC logo. Instead, it says DC Comics on top of a sort of a silhouette of a bat, which is kind of cool. But yeah, there's that. Now, hold on. I gotta put these aside and actually organize them later on. Because they're all not in order. And then so okay. Alright. I had to make sure the rest of my comics didn't fall over. Alright. I have a bunch. I have like a lot more DC comics than I do even Marvel comics. Let's see. What was I gonna do next? Oh yeah. So I have a huge collection of old Jonah Hex comics. Now, for those of you who don't know, I know there are a lot of people who don't know about the character Jonah Hex. Basically, he's an Old West bounty hunter. with a scarred face. Yeah, he's really cool. I love how it's just basically the theme is just Old West, and then there's this Old West bounty hunter who is the best gunsman in the Wild West. And he goes on these crazy adventures, and he has this really interesting backstory too about how he was raised by Native Americans, and then betrayed by one of them, and that's how he kind of got his scar. Oh no, he got his scar from something else. Never mind, I was thinking of something else. I don't know. For some reason, the lore of the comics and then the lore of the movie kind of has me confused at times, especially after times where I haven't read these in a while. But yeah, there's a Jonah Hex movie. I actually really like it. I know most people hate it, but yeah, Jonah Hex. This is the first. This is not the first issue he was ever featured in, but this is the first issue of the first one of his standalone series. The first comic to ever feature Jonah Hex, I believe. It was called Weird West Tales. No, that doesn't sound right. Actually, I have it written down. Hold on. Um. Oh. All-Star Western. Okay. It was called the first comic to feature Jonah Hex was called All-Star Westerns. It was number 10. That was the first thing to feature Jonah Hex. Later on, he got his own series. Um, but yeah, this is the first one. This is in pretty good condition. Other than the weird smudge right here. But yeah. That's issue 1. This is number 2. I actually every single or most of these Jonah Hex comics I got at Comic Con last year, and a lot of them are actually in really good condition. It looks like most of them haven't been taken out of their little sleeves that much. But yeah, a lot of these are in actually really good condition. But yeah, that's number 2. Hold on. Number 3. Uh, Number 6. Number 7, which is actually a very interesting one. I guess this one I actually bought. This one's a little bit more expensive than the most of the other ones that I bought because this one was. I guess it says actually there's a little tag right here. It says uh, Origin of Jonah Hex tells the story of facial disfigurement, very rare Mark Jeweler variant. I guess this paper was not commonly used for comics. Um, hmm. This is a really thick one too. Like I don't know if it's just the paper that they used on this particular one, or just whatever they were using at the time. But this is a really thick comic. Like even without the board in the back here, this is a really thick comic. And this one, in this issue, the secret of Jonah Hex. He's fighting on a mountain lion. Yeah, I really like this one. It's a really interesting because it really gives a glimpse into his backstory. Not fully, but a glimpse. Let's see. Here we go. Number 10. Hold on. Yeah, this is number 10. Not too big on the style of Jonah Hex on the cover. He looks very chunky. Not fat, but like he looks very chunky in a way. Um, yeah. Number 10. Hold on. Number 9. Number 14. Number 18. Number 46. Number 47. Number 74. And then number 92, which is the last release of the classic Jonah Hex comics. This was in August of '85. This one is the I guess supposed to be the conclusion to Jonah Hex's story. As it says, Jonah Hex will it also let's see, gut-wrenching issue of Jonah Hex. Will also be Jonah's last gunfight. As you can see, there's just Jonah Hex as a skeleton here. But yeah, I guess they were going to officially end the comic run and just put an end to the story of the character. But that same year, in 1985, there was a spin-off series, a Jonah Hex spin-off series that somewhat sort of like was a continuation of the classic Jonah Hex story and comic line. I actually do have most of those comics. Hold on. Yeah, and the series was just called Hex. This was, from what I've heard, it wasn't very well received. I guess people didn't like the idea of Jonah Hex being sent into the future. I actually really like it. It blends Western and sci-fi, and I love that. I love that combination. And oh my god, this is one of my favorite comic book covers of all time. Look at that. That's so cool. It's like Jonah Hex in like future armor, basically battling a horde of, some kind of futuristic biker gang, and there's like a cool sunset in the background. I love that. That's number 1. Number 4. Number 5. What's that one? And then someone else I'm looking for. Hold on. No. And then there's number 6. 7. Number 8. Number 9. number 11. Oh yeah, and in this particular issue, Jonah Hex faces the future version of Batman. Yeah, that's not Bruce Wayne Batman. That's a different Batman. Like I said, the future version of Batman. But yeah, this is long after Bruce Wayne has uh, been dead, because again, this is the future. I can't remember exactly what year they said this storyline takes place in, but it's definitely far off in the future. Then issue 12. And issue 13. Um, so this spin-off series of Jonah Hex, just called Hex, lasted only 18 issues before it was done. It was only an 18 issue series, and I actually have almost all of them. I have almost all of the issues. I'm only missing a few. Like, hold on, I actually have a list. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm only missing issues 2, 3, 14, 16, and 17. Wait. But did I not have 18? That's 13. I'm missing 18, I think. Hold on. Where's this? Oh, did I actually put it in the wrong spot? Hold on. I may have. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 1. No, actually, I don't have issue 18. That was my mistake. I just forgot to write down that I don't own that one yet. But, I should really write it down. Put that over there. But yeah, so after the conclusion of the Jonah Hex spin-off series, in I think 1986, I believe. Yeah, in 1986, after the conclusion of that spin-off series, the Jonah Hex comic line was kind of dead for a long time. Well, not a long time, but for a while. Until the 90s, that is. When Jonah Hex... Oh, wait, no. I have issues. Hold on, never mind. Hold on, yeah, sorry. I have 15 and 18. Sorry, I do have the last one. Anyway, sorry, I forgot I had them. I just had them in the wrong spot. Anyway, so yeah, the Jonah Hex comic series was kind of just dead for a few years until the 90s when the series got a reboot. But not in a full comic series. But it's not a full comic series. It was basically two sort of 4 comic miniseries. First off was uh, Jonah Hex Two Gun Mojo. This storyline is actually very interesting. It's very unique too, because up until this point, Jonah Hex had never faced a villain or a group of villains that were like anything supernatural or anything. It was all like real world. Like for like the original run, it was like real world, old west stuff, like nothing out of the ordinary until like I guess um, the side series with him going to the future. But even then, it wasn't anything supernatural. It wasn't until the 90s collection of miniseries that he faced the supernatural. Yeah, even though it has a vampire skull on the cover, there's no vampires in here. There are actually zombies. So I don't understand why there's a vampire skull if it has to do nothing with vampires and everything to do with zombies. Yeah, he faces zombies, but he also faces like a witch doctor of sorts. Um, but yeah, this is a really cool series. Definitely a lot more grittier, a lot more bloodier than '70s and '80s stuff. It's just really, really cool. Again, there's like 4 or 5 issues in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. There's 5. Really cool. I absolutely love this series. Not as much as like the. I'd say I like this a little bit more than the side series, and maybe slightly more than the original series. But I still love those series. I just like the grittiness a bit more. And then there was a second collection of mini, sort of a mini comic series of Jonah Hex. It's called Jonah Hex, Riders of the Worm and Such. This one is another series where he goes against the supernatural threat. This one is no, it's actually not supernatural. The other one was zombies, which were supernatural. Whereas this one is sort of just going against just a monster. It was not even a supernatural monster, just a monster with minions that were half monster, half human. But again, it's not anything supernatural, technically speaking. But yeah, still really cool miniseries. Not as good as the first one of the '90s, but still pretty good. But that's all I have of the Jonah Hex stuff. But yeah. Let's see. I actually have quite a few things. Hold on. So I have a few other horror comics. First up, let's see. First up is the Haunt of Fear. Basically, this series ran alongside Tales from the Crypt and The Vault of Horror, which I actually do like Tales from the Crypt and The Vault of Horror a little bit better than The Haunt of Fear. But this one's okay. The first story in here is actually really good. And then the rest are just meh. But yeah, this first story is awesome. I really like the first story. As you can see, different narrators for different stories. This is featuring the old witch, the Vault Keeper, and then the Crypt Keeper, who looks a lot more human than he did in the TV series Tales from the Crypt. But yeah, I found this one to be the first story is good. The rest are just meh. And then speaking of the Crypt Keeper, Tales from the Crypt. I only have 2 of these so far. They are the I guess re-releases. I guess you can call them, because these are reprints. A collection that I guess was reprinted during the early '90s or something. I guess oh yeah, so Tales from the Crypt, I guess in the originally released, the series was originally in the '50s, I think. Yeah, it says bad '50s. I don't know if it says bad '50s DC comics. These aren't bad comics. But Tales from the Crypt was originally a series from the '50s, and it was actually a black and white comic series. It didn't have any coloring, so it was just black and white. But I guess around the time that these were popular back in the '50s, there was that book the crazy religious guy wrote called "The Seduction of the Innocent." Basically, it was his ravings about how TV shows and comic books and movies were basically basically messing with kids' minds and making them be delinquents and stuff. And apparently, there were a lot of crazy people out there who actually believed the psycho when they read his book, and so that basically ended the line of Tales from the Crypt and a bunch of other horror comics. Luckily, at least with Tales from the Crypt, it was revived again in the '90s. alongside the TV series, which started in the 90s. Tales from the Crypt, I do think is from what these have again horror anthology. These are definitely a lot more better. Like definitely a bit more good stories in here than with the Vault of Horror, or at least the one that I have, where there's only like one good story in here. There's each of these, I guess there's like a two or three really good stories and like one or two meh. Definitely a lot more good stories in here than in the Vault of Horror thing I have. I need to get more Tales from the Crypt stuff, but apparently a lot of the really good issues, like a lot, not even just like the original stuff, but a lot of the good ones, especially with these reprints, a lot of the good story ones go for a lot of money. Again, probably because there are a lot more interesting stories in them. But I have those, and then one other horror comic, and this one, along with a few ghost comics I actually got recently, is uh, uh, Unexpected. It says, have you the nerve to face the unexpected? I guess this is another horror anthology series. I haven't read it yet. Looks in pretty good condition. But yeah, there's that one. Hold on. I actually have a few more stuff. I think this is it for the EC and DC stuff. Alright. The next batch of comics is the Iron Maiden comics. I've showed these before, so I'll be quick about this one because this video is already like 58 minutes long. Longest video I've ever made. Yeah. Anyway, again, like I think, yeah, I've said this before. This is a collection of the first 5 chapters of the Iron Maiden comics. I guess there's different chapters. Each chapter like is released as 5 separate issues. Like chapter 1 is 5 of them, and chapter 2 is 5 of them. This is the complete 5 chapters of the. Complete 5 separate issues of the first chapter. And then let's see. I don't have all of chapter 2. I have chapter 2 is called Night City, but that's was it? Oh no, hold on, I have these backwards. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I put these way backwards. There's a part 1 of 5, part 2 of 5, and part 3 of 5. I don't have part 4 of 5 or part 5 of 5 yet, but it's a really good comic series. I do really like it. Has a great story to it. It's basically based off of the story from the Iron Maiden mobile game, although the story stuff in the storyline slightly tweaked a bit to give it more of depth. Of course, you can't get really in depth with a mobile game in terms of story. Well, you can, but it's kind of difficult. But yeah, there's that. And then all right, this is an interesting comic series. Let's see. It's called The Darkness. It's basically about I guess he's like an anti-hero. No, he's a villain. He's a villain. I know there's another comic series basically about there's this overall universe built up between two different comic series. There's this one, of course, The Darkness, and then the other comic series is Witchblade, which is the hero of the overall story. Um, yeah, this is a comic of the villain, The Darkness. I don't have the. Oh, this is Darkness Origins Volume 2. I don't have Volume 1. This isn't even the, I guess, the Origins, the first couple comics. I guess, I don't know. Oh, oh boy. It's falling apart right here. Yeah, I did get this. I'm pretty sure I got at least this one at a used bookstore. But it's good. The basic plot of the story is that this guy, I forgot his name, but he inherits this ancient power, but it's evil, and I guess he's already evil, so it doesn't really corrupt him that much. He's already like the guy that gets the power is basically already a drug lord, not a drug lord. He's a mob boss, I think. I don't know. I haven't read this series in a long time, but he's pretty much a mob boss, and he inherits these powers, and he becomes even more of a villain. Um, but I mean, it's shown throughout the series that he does have a good side. He just uh, doesn't really show it that much because he just doesn't really know how to show his good side. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. It's actually quite a complicated storyline that I can't really describe it that well. You're gonna have to read it for yourself, but there's that one, and then there's let's see, Darkness Accursed. I actually don't think I've ever read this one for whatever reason. Maybe I have. Wait, no, I don't think I have. But I got all of these. I'm pretty sure I got all of these ones at a used bookstore at one point. But yeah, this one's another, I guess, another series. Not another series, but another storyline of the same series. And then the other two that I own, again, I haven't read. I've only read the Darkness Origins Volume 2. I just never got around to reading the rest of these. But there's a Darkness Rebirth Volumes 2 and 3. I don't own the first one. Again, I haven't read these, so I can't really tell you that much about them. But yeah. And now moving on to the final section of my comic collection, which is my Marvel comics. So starting off is let's see, where's that at? Oh yeah, is the comic version of the novel Dracula. This is the comic adaptation. There we go. There's the word. The comic adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel, of course, Dracula. I actually saw this a while ago at Barnes and Noble. I can't remember where I got this particular one. I think it was when I was living in Michigan, maybe. But I don't know. I don't remember which particular Barnes and Noble I got this at, but it wasn't. It was definitely not anywhere around the area I live now. This is definitely before I moved, but this one's pretty good. It's basically it's not the cover's kind of misleading because it's like a very sort of modern comic art style, same as the back, but it's not that. It's not like it's not a modern release. It's actually a was it? Hold on. I guess it's sort of a compilation, really, of or like a complete series of an old Dracula comic. As you can see there, that artwork looks nothing like what's on the actual cover. I think it's like from like the 80s. I think. Um, good. Yeah. Oh yeah. Here we go. Sorry, there's some artwork in the back. Hmm. Oh no, never mind. It's not the cover art. But this is um, I guess it's part of an older comic series, an older Dracula comic series that I guess they just put together to make the full story. Um, but yeah, I mean, even though it's good, the cover art is kind of misleading because it is more of a modern artwork, and it looks like it's just a complete retelling using the modern art. But actually, it's actually an older comic with completely different artwork. But yeah, it's still really good. It actually does have a few details in this comic. It has the few details from the actual novel that I haven't seen in most movie adaptations of Dracula. Like, for example, there's most movie adaptations of Dracula miss the fact that Dracula in the novel had like a white, really long sort of mustache, like almost not really a handlebar, but you get yeah, it's a white thick mustache, which a lot of movie adaptations don't have, except for like maybe two. I think I've seen like a I can't remember what the names of those ones were. I can't even remember which ones they were, but I do remember that there was only like two Dracula movies where they got where that detail of him having a white thick mustache was actually implemented into the film. But yeah, there's just like little details like that that they have in here that they don't have in most movie adaptations. Again, this is very close to the actual source material from the actual novel. And oh wait, I saw something. Hold on, let me go back here for a second. I saw where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. Um, is that the main section? Hold on. Yeah, it is. Okay, so as you can see, let me take that off for a second. That's going all over the place. Anyway, as you can see, these are the different old Dracula comics. There's a Dracula Lives, and Dracula, Legion of Monsters. Um, the only older Dracula comics that I'm familiar with, kind of, is I think it's called Dracula's Tomb, if I remember correctly. I do remember seeing there was a I can't remember if it was produced by Marvel or whatever, but at one point, but there was a not comic, there was a cartoon series, like an old, like I think like 70s or 80s cartoon series based on that old comic series. I remember seeing it. I think I watched it on YouTube at some point. I don't know if it's still up, but that's the only reason I'm familiar with that particular older Dracula series of comics is because I saw the cartoon based off of it. I think it was a show. I think it was like on Fox Kids originally or something. But yeah, this is just an amazing adaptation. Oh yeah, and I really like the actual cover. You know, like it looks just like a proper novel would look in terms of covers. Maybe with a little bit of artwork, but yeah, that's really cool. Um, I'm sorry that this video is very long, but I really should have broken this down into separate videos, but I kind of didn't. I kind of didn't realize that this was going to take so long. But I'm too excited about showing you guys this, and plus I'm not. I would edit this, but I have no editing skill whatsoever. So yeah, this is just gonna be a long video. But it's gonna be over soon. I don't have much to show you after this. But anyway, the next one I want to show you is the first issue of the Marvel Godzilla King of the Monsters comic series. I got look. with like with a lot of the Ghost comics and all of the Jonah Hex comics, majority of the Jonah Hex comics, I got this at Comic Con last year. Yeah, they had a quite a few of these, although I basically was running out of money at that point because I already had bought a ton of stuff, so I only had enough for one, and so I just picked up the first one. I think it was from 1973, maybe. I don't know, early 70s, definitely early 70s. Because this is the first issue. This is issue 1, as you can see. Um, it's really cool. I do really like this design of Godzilla in terms of designs from comics. I had at one point a more of a modern comic series that he was in. I don't think it was Marvel. I think it was a different company. But the artwork was just, I don't know, it just really bugged me. It just looked very extremely stylized to the point where it's just like painful to look at. Whereas this, it looks a little bit, slightly more faithful to what you see in the 1954 film, ever so slightly. But they did keep key features. And then they made him green. Actually, I'm pretty sure up to this point, this was the first time Godzilla was depicted as green. Um, wait, I have something to show you guys that you guys would probably find very interesting. Hold on. I forget. Oh, yeah, it's up there. This Godzilla figure. Notice the similarities? Yeah, I mean, it's the same version of Godzilla that's in these old Marvel comics. Um, I actually forgot I owned this. I got this years and years ago when I was really young. I basically picked this up at like a thrift store or no, it was like I think it was at an old antique shop. It was in like the $5 bin. It doesn't really have any. Oh wait, there's a very faded branding. Uh, Hold on. Let me get a flashlight real quick. Here we go. It says, can't make much of it out. Uh, Made in. Then the rest is faded. Made in China. 1994. And the comic was from the 70s, but I don't know. Maybe at one point they were relaunching it, but it didn't work out well. I don't know. But this has to be based on the Godzilla from this comic series, because look at it. Godzilla's green. This Godzilla's green. It's the same exact body type, and he has red eyes. You can't really see it on the cover, but if you open the comic up, he is depicted with bright pupilless red eyes. It's the same Godzilla. I actually, for years, I was wondering where did this design come from, because like I wasn't even aware of the comic series for like years. But I was always wondering. I own majority of the Godzilla films, except for like maybe 5 or 6 of them. But I scoured my movies. Like, I've never seen this version of Godzilla before. Like, maybe it's a bootleg design. I don't know. For years, I was wondering where is this design from, and all of a sudden, I learn about the existence of these Marvel Godzilla comics, and I look at the design, I'm like, oh, that's what that's from. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. Um, there. Um, okay, what's next? Okay. No, that's not it. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, next up, I guess there's a lot of you guys who were waiting for this portion of my collection, and that is the Spider-Man comics. Yeah, I have a bunch of them. Well, not a bunch, but quite a few. First off is a solo comics. That is a Carnage one, Carnage USA. This is a quite recent one. I know there was a follow-up one called what was it again? I can't. What was it called? I know there was a follow-up. Oh yeah, there it is. Carnage Family Feud, which I haven't gotten, but I really want to get. I saw it at Comic-Con last year, but didn't pick it up. For because I was hell-bent on trying to find as many Jonah Hex and Ghosts comics as possible. Yeah, that one looks really cool. That's the follow-up to this comic. Um, and It's really cool. The basic storyline of this comic is Carnage basically just wants to settle down and just retire. And so he goes to this town in, what was it, Iowa? I don't know, it's some rural town. Hold on. Doverton. I don't know if that's a real town, but it's somewhere. I know it's somewhere rural, somewhere like out in the country. It kind of looks like almost like maybe Utah or something. I don't know. But he wants to settle down, but of course, because he's a psychopath, even though he wants to settle down, he's still killing people. Whoever he sees, he just kills them. Anyway, he wants to settle down, and he settles in a small rural town in Doverton, and basically he just runs amok. He basically instead of killing everybody, he basically, I guess, mind controls them through his symbiote. Like, he just sort of messes with their mind, and so that they're basically his puppets. And then the Avengers come in, and basically they can't stop Carnage. Carnage is very overpowered in this comic. Like, he takes down the Avengers in like a single swoop, except for I think Spider-Man. Yeah, except for Spider-Man, but he takes down everyone else. He like sort of basically makes them his puppets too. And it takes another symbiote to defeat him. Scorn, who I guess was introduced in a prior comic, but up until this point, I hadn't heard of that character before. So, but honestly, I haven't really kept up with Carnage's storyline after Maximum Carnage. To be honest, most of the Carnage storyline nowadays is just meh. Especially the new series. What was it? Absolute Carnage, I think it was, where it just retconned his whole backstory and just I don't know, just really sort of toyed with I don't know, it just didn't, the story, whatever was going on was just, they threw all these different ideas in there and it just didn't work. It was just a mess of ideas. This whole overarching story that there's this symbiote god and there's this Carnage cult, and I don't know, it was just bizarre. But and that's one of the main reasons I don't really keep up with modern comics, especially with Spider-Man stuff, because it's just gotten way too out of hand and just throwing in way too many ideas, and most of them don't stick, and they're just sort of a mess now. But back when this came out, this was still pretty good. When did this come out? Hold on, what was the date on this one? This was definitely like sometime in the 2000s. 2011 and 2012. So this is like what 2010s. Still really good. I do highly recommend this one if you're into the character Carnage and you really want more of sort of a standalone comic with him as the main focus. This is definitely something to get and read. But yeah, there's that one, and then there's let's do another one. Hold on. Actually, some Venom stuff. Hold on. Oh, that's the other one. Okay. I have two individual issues with Venom comics, and there's the Amazing Spider-Man number 333. I think this is the 80s. I think maybe the early 90s, but no, this is definitely like the late 80s. I'm pretty sure because I remember this design being the design from the late 80s. Um, uh, these two comics, I think, are the ones that go together. Maybe, although this version of Venom does look like the '90s version, where he's black and blue instead of black and black with slight gray highlights like this one. He's a lot like more rows of fangs and the red tongue instead of the skin-colored tongue on this version. So I'm pretty now. This is definitely in the '90s. This is late '80s. This is earlier mid '90s. 1989. Oh no, that's the copyright for the game on the back. The promotion, whatever this game is. But the actual version of Venom here is definitely the '90s version, which is my favorite version of Venom. By the way, I really like this design. This actually, I believe I saw. I have read this one. It was like in a compilation, not a compilation, but like a complete story arc of one of the story arcs in the '90s. But yeah, there's those. Where did I? Oh, okay, there we go. And then there's a really interesting two-part miniseries. Is Spider-Man. Basically, I guess this is an encounter with the Hobgoblin, but this is a really interesting storyline. I don't know if this was like a separate from the main canon of the Spider-Man universe, because in this version, the Hobgoblin becomes our actual Hobgoblin. He's not just a guy in a costume anymore. He actually becomes a Hobgoblin with supernatural powers. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just a side, I don't think this is part of the main continuity of Spider-Man. But it's really cool. It's like the Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin is the main focus of this miniseries. You sort of follow him instead of like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is just sort of there, whereas the Hobgoblin is like the main character of the story arc. Uh, and then Ghost Rider is in the second one, which is really cool. I love Ghost Rider. Yeah, a really cool short two-part miniseries with the Hobgoblin as an actual Hobgoblin, which I think is really cool. A really cool concept. He looks. You don't see it here with the cover, but like if you actually read through the comic, he looks very monstrous. He looks very cool. I love the design. But yeah, a really cool two-part miniseries. One of my favorite comic miniseries, actually. Next up is a fan favorite. If you're a fan of the Venom character, this is definitely a fan favorite. And this is Venom Lethal Protector, the complete the complete series, like the complete every single chapter is here. Now, there's actually this is not the original release. Like, yeah, the original release was just individual chapters, but I mean the original complete release. Actually, the original complete release was a hardcover, which and it had a way better artwork. If I could find it, hold on, it's in here in the back somewhere. There we go. That's the original complete series. That's from the hardcover of the original release, which I love that. I love that cover. I love that artwork too. Definitely better than this, even though that's really cool. Yeah, Venom Lethal Protector. Obviously, I don't need to say much about it because it's a very well-known story arc, and one of my favorite, if not my favorite, story arcs for Venom. Again, it has the my favorite version of Venom, like my favorite design. It's the '90s version where he's black, where he has a blue and black color scheme with with either a red tongue or a pink tongue, depending on the artist. Like it's very inconsistent again because they got artists, different artists for different panels or different individual issues. But I actually do like the version with the red tongue better. But yeah, I really love it. And this is the comic series to feature the other five main symbiotes: Scream, Agony, Lasher, Riot, and Phage, I think its name is. Which they didn't get many other appearances other than the continuation of this story arc, which I think was called Venom Separation Anxiety, which I don't own that one. I really want to own that one at some point. Hold on. You can find the page that has all five of these guys. Hold on. No, that's not. Wait. Oh yeah, that's it. Hold on. I skipped it. Where'd it go? Oh. Sorry, it's hard to flip through and stop on the exact one. Oh, there we go. There's the other five. Again, that's a Scream right there, the yellow one. Agony, it's the purple one. Lasher is, of course, the green one with the tendrils. I think Riot was the... Yeah, this one's Riot, this one's Phage. Really cool. I love the story arc. Next up is... Oh, no, that's not it. Okay, there we go. Is another miniseries featuring Venom, another really cool one, and this is Venom Funeral Pyre. It is, I think, yeah, four different... it's a 4-part miniseries, and actually, I do love this one, except for the last issue. The last issue was very anticlimactic, very sudden, and very just like they knew they only had one more issue to flesh out the story, and it just it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's just that it's just a sudden end to the story. Quite rushed end too. But I mean, it's not bad. I just do wish they had at least one more. I wish they had a fifth issue to flesh out the end a bit more, not have it so rushed. But other than that little gripe of mine, it's still a really good story arc. Oh, and yeah, the first issue is very shiny too. I really like that. And then the Punisher is in here too. Venom teams up with the Punisher. I really do like the Punisher. Yeah, just overall really cool story arc. I absolutely love it. Next up is my favorite Spider-Man story arc. A really famous one too is Spider-Man Maximum Carnage. This is actually the very first comic I ever owned, and you can tell because it's falling apart. Like, the first section of the comic is just completely removed from the spine. Like, it's just really falling apart. I actually bought this back when Barnes & Noble... I bought this at Barnes & Noble when Barnes & Noble was still around. For those of you guys who don't know, who've never been to Barnes & Noble was a bookstore. It's basically like no, sorry, not Barnes & Noble. I'm talking about Borders. Never mind, I got that confused. I got this at Borders when Borders was still around. Barnes & Noble is the bookstore that's still around today, but for years they were competing against each other about what's the best, Barnes & Noble or Borders. Borders unfortunately lost the battle and they went out of business while Barnes & Noble's still around. But yeah, I got this back when Borders was still around. Borders is the one I went to the most because they did have a better selection of not only comics but movies as well. It's a shame they went out of business because they were a really good bookstore. But yeah, I got this. This was my first comic I ever bought, or at least the first one I ever bought with my own money. But it's a really good story arc. My favorite Spider-Man story arc. I actually also like how with the complete series, the picture on the front is actually the picture from the cover of the video game. Yeah, there was a video game based off of the story, although very loosely based, like very loosely based. Yeah, but I really love it. Has my favorite uh, my favorite depiction of Carnage in terms of design. Again, because it is through multiple, not only multiple issues, but like it goes through multiple versions of Spider-Man comics. Like it goes through the Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, and I think Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, and another one. I can't remember what it was called, but the Spectacular Spider-Man, yeah. So Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Web of Spider-Man. So obviously, there's going to be a bunch of different artists working on each issue. I do really the version of Carnage I absolutely like. My favorite version is from I think part 2 of 14 that actually lasted for a few issues. It was the same artist. If I could find a really good close-up panel of the design. No, that's not it. Hold on. Where was it? Maybe it wasn't issue. Maybe it wasn't issue 2. Hold on. Uh, hmm. That's a good one, but sorry, I'm trying to find. Oh, here we go. Here's an example. This artist rendition. It's a lot more detailed and a lot less sloppy than most depictions of Carnage back in the 90s. It looks very clean. It looks very probably the most professional drawn version of Carnage in the 90s. Actually, I'm gonna lose where it's at. But I'm just try to make sure that doesn't fall out. But as you can see right there, definitely a lot of detail and like the muscle structure and stuff, and the teeth as well, and the face. My favorite rendition of Carnage. Just a really good interpretation of the character in terms of design. And in certain panels, they even add like the shine detail, like the slimy shine of the symbiote. Um, and then in here is also the what I consider the worst artist version of Carnage, which just it looks very lazy. Hold on, if I could find it. Da, 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 No, that's still the good one. Hold on, it's in here somewhere. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. Here's a good close up of the what I consider the worst version of Carnage. It's only in a few like the end of one of the chapters, but look at that. That's so like there's not much detail, but like the lines are pretty thick too. It's just not very detailed, and it's just like the most basic design of Carnage, like just bare basic. And yeah, no wonder why he didn't like the artist who did this version didn't stay around much longer for this series because he just looks it looks very basic, like a very like almost like a fan art, like a very lazy fan art. Um, but yeah, and then of course there's a version of Venom that I've only seen in like a couple panels, a few here, a few comic panels in here, and a few in like one other that what I like to call the red lipstick version of Venom, where he actually has red lips, also with the red tongue. He's only like in 2 panels of this entire series. I guess it was like an art mistake, and they fixed it. And I guess they realized their mistake and they fixed the design. But I really like the design mess up. That's not there. Hold on. No, that's not it either. I can't remember where it was at because there was only like 1 or 2 panels of that particular artwork so it's kind of hard to pinpoint where it was at. Um, here's one of them. As you can see right here, Venom has red lips, and that's only in like on one other panel of the entire Maximum Carnage comic series, and only in one panel of no, not even in another panel of another comic, on the cover of another comic. And I actually do have that one. Hold on. That's actually no, I'm not going to take it out, but there's a comic in here where the cover he does have the red lips. So I guess that was like an artist. No, because it's not just one panel, so I guess it wasn't a mistake. I guess it was just an artist's choice of design, but I guess maybe the higher ups didn't like that design, so they told him to stop with the red lips on Venom. But I don't know. I think that's a really cool, like, unique design. But yeah. And then I also have two individual original releases of certain particular chapters of Maximum Carnage. Where did I put that then? Oh, yeah, I put that over here. Never mind. Okay, so... oh, yeah, and then I have... The last stuff I want to show you is the Morbius comics. I do have a few of those. Oh my god, this is over an hour long. I really need to hurry up. Um... Okay, I forgot that not all of these comics in this pile is Morbius. Most of them are, though. So, I have a few Morbius comics. I have one that's a reprint from the original Morbius comic series, which is this one. I guess this is his first appearance. It's not an original copy, it's a reprint. As you can see, a lot of these reprints of first issues have this really sort of silvery metallic background on the cover, which is really, really cool. And this is back when Spider-Man had 6 arms for plot purposes, which they did carry over to the 90s Spider-Man animated series, which I love that series, by the way. You can't really get that series unless you actually... I guess it's sort of like a Comic-Con exclusive, because I did buy the DVD... not the DVD, the Blu-ray, so I guess it's a Comic-Con exclusive. But anyway, the first appearance of Morbius. Again, it's a reprint, not an original copy. Then it starts, what I guess... oh, this is an original copy. No, not the one I had, not the first issue, but another early comic to feature Morbius. This one. The Morbius, the Man Called Morbius, the Living Vampire. This is... But yeah, really cool. And then we go to the 90s Morbius comic series, which I have... oh, I think I have most of them. I have most of these releases. First off is Morbius, Rise of the Midnight Suns. I really like this version of Morbius. He looks really, really cool. Unfortunately, they switched artists later on in the series, and the artwork just kind of took a turn for the worst, which I'll show in a minute. But yeah, the artwork was really cool early on in the series. I absolutely love it, and the design of Morbius here is really amazing. Probably my favorite design for Morbius. Uh, um. There's the second one, and the third one. And then the fifth one, seventh one, 10th one, 13th one, yeah, the 32nd one. And then I guess they sort of, I guess this is the same series, but I guess a different storyline. So they redid the numbering. This is where they switched artists, and the artwork kind of just went downhill. You can't really tell on this one, but on this one, Morbius just looks very stupid looking. Like, look at that; it's like extremely exaggerated. I don't know. You can't really tell from the actual cover, but if you look inside the artwork, just as worse than even on the cover. But yeah, that's my Morbius collection comics. Now for the last few things in my comic collection. First up is Marvel Comics Group Supernatural Thrillers featuring The Headless Horseman Rides Again. I guess this is not. I guess this is a series, and I guess this is the conclusion to whatever storyline this particular storyline is, and I don't have the rest of them. But this looks really cool. I absolutely like it. It really, the cover really looks like something from the Ghosts comics. And then two other things. First off, oh wait, that should. I'm gonna put that. No, that actually should go over here. Hold on, I should have showed this first. Before that one is the probably my favorite interpretation of Morbius in terms of modern comics. This is Morbius the Living Vampire, the man called Morbius. This is collective issues of the story. It basically goes from his backstory all the way to a story. Basically, his backstory, and then it goes into the main story, which Morbius is just basically living as a homeless guy. Basically, like drinking blood and stuff like that from his victims. But he's not like killing anyone. At least people he doesn't have to kill. He's basically living on the streets. He wanders into this town, and he finds this. He finds that the town is sort of living under tyrannical rule of a infamous street gang that has ties to, I guess, not really the mafia, but like a sort of a kind of mafia-ish organization that runs the whole town. So he basically has to, in a way, like free the town from the tyranny of this gang, which is a really cool storyline. And then there's a villain in here that is the main antagonist called the Rose. I think he's called the Rose. I don't know. I haven't read this in a while, but the villain, like when you have a good villain in either a comic or a movie series, you have a good villain when you hate his guts. Like you have a good villain when you want him to be killed off by the hero of the story at the end. And yeah, it's just such a good villain. It really like such a good villain that you feel for Morbius when basically the villain basically threatens Morbius's friends and family. Like you feel like a sigh of relief when Morbius does kill him off in the end. But yeah, a really great story. I absolutely love it. probably the best story arc Morbius has ever had in terms of comics, or at least more of the modern stuff. And then lastly, the last thing is Venom versus Carnage. The first comic series to feature the character Toxin. Is no, that's not it. Hold on. Where's a good? Oh, hey, there's a good picture. Hold on. There we go. There he is. A really good storyline, although the artwork is a little too over-exaggerated for my taste. They're going for the more modern artwork, but they have a lot of these characters, especially Carnage and Venom, are very exaggerated and like over the top, stylized. Which is okay, I guess, but they're not my preferred renditions of the characters. But still a really good storyline. Absolutely like it. Alright, that's it. Thankfully that's it, because this video was way over, like, not really over an hour long, but it's getting there. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys stick around until the end of this video, even though it's super long. But yeah, so that's it for my comic collection. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.